Fine. We are, this is each year of Pesach. We're at Siman Kuf Yud Aleph. We're up to Sif Ches, which is also, interestingly, number 8. So it works out well. Okay. Yesh noyagin, there is a minig, shekoidem abdika, that before people do the bdikas for chametz, manichin asara psisi lechem b'kemes sheyimtzeim abaydik. You go and you put out 10 pieces of chametz. You go and you put out 10 pieces of chametz in the place that you're going to be searching to find them while you're going to end up finding it. Now, generally, other people would put it out. Here it doesn't say 10, but the Alter Rebbe adds in 10. Usually people will put it out to kids or whatever, but technically, if there's no kids, you put it out yourself. Now, even though you're going to say, well, then you're not actually finding it, it's true. The ikar is not that you actually have to find something. It's api darizal, api this one. As we'll see soon, lav dafka, do you even have to find anything in the first place either way. So, but you do put it out if you have other people there could do it for you, that's great. If not, you do it yourself. The minig is, as he says in the bottom, I didn't say the bottom, but the minig is that these are 10 hard pieces. That's the minig. They shouldn't be crumply pieces like cake. It should be something more substantial that shouldn't, sprinkle all over. Now, why do we do that? So, according to the Kitzur, he explains, because it might happen that you did such a good job cleaning for Pesach when you came home from yeshiva in those 7, 8 days that you have until Pesach. You used your time wisely and you helped your parents and you searched for cleaned everything, so you don't find any chametz. And then, according to the Kitzur, utehe bracha levatal. It's going to be bracha levatal. You made a bracha bir chametz. You don't find any chametz. Now, the Alter Rebbe does not agree. But Rabbeinu Kosav, the Alter Rebbe says differently. Sha'af im loy yimtze chametz. According to the Alter Rebbe, even if you don't find any chametz, loy berech levatal, it's still not a bracha levatal. Why? Because what's the mitzvah? Bedikas chametz, the search for chametz. You don't have to find. There's a separate mitzvah of beer that if you find chametz, you have to destroy it, or you have to destroy all your chametz. Fine. But when it comes to the bdikas chametz, you don't have to find anything. You just have to search for it. And therefore, the mitzvah, either way, was not going to be a brach levatala. And that's what Alter Rebbe is not as worried. But Alter Rebbe says, and he says, the minig nevertheless is that we do. Like we mentioned from the Arizal and others. And therefore, that becomes Torah, and therefore we do it. Now, there are some that would say, by the way, that because we taka search our house and we clean our house before, so therefore it's even more of a chayv that you have to put out the 10 pieces. In other words, what we're saying over here in Allah is that if you happen to search and you don't find, then fine, then maybe it's a bracha levatala, and the Alter Rebbe says it's not a bracha levatala anyways. But some would say even further, because you spent all that time cleaning your house, that means for sure there's no chametz. So if for sure there's no chametz in the parts that you're doing the bdikas chametz on, then you have to put stuff out because now already you know for sure there's nothing there. Okay, but lav dafka, according to Alter Rebbe, again, the point is just to go around, confirm, check, and all that. Now, pshita shemi sheine beidikaro. Now, you have to remember like this: if someone is not searching properly, elo shehu mekabetz as absisim, they're just going around to find. So I remember once I finished finding the 10 pieces that my kids hid because it's not that challenging, But after I finished, I said, okay, let's wrap up. And I said, no. Because chametz, you got to search the house for chametz. So if you found all 10 in one room, you still have to go through the rest of your house. Unless you already did it, as we'll talk about soon. But in other words, you're not done when you find your pieces. You still have to go through the whole house. So, and if you only search for the pieces, and as soon as you're done, that's it. Like mitzvah dika, that's that you didn't do the mitzvah. And then maybe also bracha levatala, yeah? Now, the Eitzah Tova would be, first of all, two things. Number one, the pieces should be less than a kazayis. Each piece on its own should be less than a kazayis. Now, it's not that hard. If you're using pieces of bread, then, I think one piece is a kazayis, I think, or one piece is a kazayis, or one piece is a kabeya. I forget exactly what it is. I think one piece is a kazayis, and two pieces of standard bread would be a kabeya, right? So if you take one piece, you tear it in half. Now, all 10 together should be a kazayis. Why? Because you want to have the full mitzvah when you actually destroy it and you burn it, that you're burning a kazayis that you had a chiyuv to get rid of. Because if it's less than a kazayis, there are some leniencies if you have to actually search for it or whatever. So this way, all 10 together make up a kazayis, but each one individually is smaller than a kazayis. Why? Because what happens if you only find 9? Yeah, the kids were hiding it and they forgot where one went. They don't remember where one is. So, which leads us to Eitzah Tova number 2. Eitzah Tova number 2 is make sure it's written down. So the kids should write down exactly where they put it. They're not going to remember. Should be written down. They're going to forget which one you found, which one you did. And this way you don't have any issues. But if you don't find one for some reason, then it's okay because it's less than a kazayis. You search, obviously, but you don't have to mamish go through and search your whole house and spend till Pesach going crazy because it's less than a kazayis. So that's the Eitzah Tova of how to divide it. Then on one end, you want them all together to be a kazayis, so that you could be Yitzah, beer, lechatchila, but that you want each piece to be less. And in case you don't find one, you don't have to make yourself crazy after. Fine, but still, you don't want to find it on Pesach. So you should have it written down as the easiest way to do it. And this way, yeah.
If you're by yourself, you're putting in high pieces, you're already finding, you already know where it is.
Yeah, so that's what I said. You should do it anyways. It's a P Lariza. I forgot the reason. I don't remember the reason what Lariza says, but it has to do with the 10 and you put it out. Yeah, there's no difference if you don't have to hide it. The point's not to hide it. It should be around.
Well, you still have to find it.
Yeah, you have to go around anyways and do the chametz. You should still do it. It's a P Lariza. You should. Yeah. It should be spread out, I think. That's the expression that if you look in the bottom where it says Gimel, yeah? So over there it brings to the minig base it up. It says the minig that they used to do by the Rebbes, they would put it in different places in the house. And they would put asara psisi chametz kasha, 10 hard pieces. Put pisas in the yard, and each one of them they would wrap in paper, which is also another eitzah teva. Sometimes people they sell these 10 little bags, and then plastic bags, and then when you burn them, you're getting all that pollution and breathing it. It's not good, so it doesn't burn well. And also, there's another issue with it also.
Yes, we'll get pissed.
No, there's another issue also. Which is basically like this, and the same thing. Well, we're getting a little ahead, but I'll just say it now. Also, when it comes to the beer chametz, so people like to put fire accelerant. Yeah, you throw on some fire, makes it go up. So you have to remember this: the actual beer you want to happen through burning, not through any other way. So if you burn it with plastic, then it becomes not rol achilas kela from the plastic first, it melts. And that's not ideal. Same thing with throwing on the fire accelerant. It becomes first not edible because you just poisoned it. And then the fire will burn it later. You don't really want that. You want the destruction to happen through fire, as we'll see soon. So that's why better to use paper also. I don't know if that's the reason why the Rebbes did it, but there happens to be a side point. And also why it's not good to throw in the accelerant. Maybe in the beginning when you get it started. But after the chametz is there, you want it to burn naturally.
Like to get fired on.
It's the same thing. It's going to destroy. It makes it not edible on its own. So it's really not ideal. The chametz. You want to
spray the chametz, spray the fire.
To do what?
To make the
So where are you spraying it? Not on the chametz part. You're going to spray on the side. Let's say.
You try
Yeah. So the fire should be a natural fire that's burning the chametz. You want to somehow on the side put something that will make it flame up a little bit? I guess you could. That you could do in the beginning before you put the chametz in. Yeah, what I'm saying is that you don't want to actually put an accelerant on the chametz because then you destroy the chametz from another substance. Okay, let's go weiter. We'll come back to that soon. Test. Let's say you're holding over chametz for the next day. So you have a little outside or your steers or wherever you're doing it that you're going to have for the next day, a feast in the morning. Or other years, was it last year? Was it Shabbos? No, it was a couple years ago. Last year? I don't remember. It happened twice recently. Sunday, yeah. So whatever it is. So let's say you have challah for the next morning for erev or whatever, any other chametz, cereal, whatever you want to do. So then number one is you want to put it into a specific place. Yeah? You want to do it in a specific place that this way it's guarded. This way you know exactly where it is. It's not all over the place. So you condense everything. In other words, you're already consolidating the night before. Any chametz that you're going to keep is in one area. Everything else should be clean for Pesach already, basically. The same thing, the 10 pieces that you find. That you're going to burn the next day. Also, it should be in a guarded area. It should be tied. So you shouldn't lose any pieces. If you lose a piece and you come the next day, again, if you're doing it less than a kazayis each, it's a little bit better. But let's say maybe they didn't do it less than a kazayis, so you'll have big problems the next day. So therefore, it should be tied. It should be put in somewhere specific. It should be in a place that you'll see it the next day, and you won't forget to burn. Now look in the bottom daled where it says the minig of the Rebbes. So minig beis hadav was like this: when you finish searching your house, you take the paper bag. Yeah, you take the paper bag. And you take the noitza, which is the feather, whatever's left over of the candle, usually not too much, if there is, and you put it b'kairudis shel kaf eitz. You put it into the cup of a spoon. Okay, you put it inside a wooden spoon. I'll explain that in a second. I never knew this till this year, but I found something interesting. And v'shuv oitiv kulam b'niyar. Then you tie the paper, the bag, you tie it with paper as well, so like a string made of something, not of plastic. Avaloi yadakaf, but not the handle of the spoon. The handle of the wooden spoon should not be part of the tied. Shanishar bilti mu'utaf, the handle of the spoon should be not tied. It shouldn't be part of it, should be loose. Umahadek al yidei chut shekarchai. Now, 1 second. Yeah, then you take that thing, you do it a couple of times around. Yeah, the chut, the string, you do around a few times. So it looks like what he's saying is two things. Number one, you have, it looks like this, it looks like this. Oh, so what did he say?
He says that you use the feather to sweep the clumps into the bag.
Yeah.
And the spoon, you put it the bag inside the spoon, wrap it with paper, and then tie it.
1 second. Then you put the spoon in the bag.
You don't put the spoon in the bag. The bag goes in the spoon.
You close the bag, then you put
the bag goes in the spoon, and then
put it in the spoon. You wrap it with paper and tie it with a string. And you have the stick of the spoon.
Right. Okay, so now
you have like the bag, everything inside, like rolled up into a bag, tied up on the top of the
right. And the spoon is that, yeah.
We watched videos of the Rebbe do beer chametz, and it looks like that the Rebbe had that, but instead of wrapping it with paper, the Rebbe just put another bag there.
Right.
That's what it looked like.
Okay, I was trying to see in the video what it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it looked like. It looked like it was actually
It was two
paper
separate.
tied. The thing went in the spoon, and just another paper bag went on.
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay. So good. So you see. Good. So now that you learned it, look again at the specific lashon that they're using when they quote over here from Sefer Menagim. Yeah. They say like this. They say you b'gemara b'dika. You take maniach hasak shal there. You take the bag of paper, and inside that bag you put the neitza, the shiara haned, and you put that inside of the spoon, and then v'shuv oitiv kulam b'niyar. Then you wrap the whole package with paper, but not the top of the spoon, right? In other words, that one is not part of that. No, yeah. Okay, so now
also isn't actually used for the chametz.
the
You
spoon.
don't put the feather. The
Which
that
thing?
feather doesn't say that when you do it, you take the feather and put the chametz.
Oh, you're saying in that way, right? So why taka do you use a spoon? So the reason why I use a spoon, I just saw this here, is because there are those who say, like we mentioned just a few minutes ago, is that the beer has to be through fire. You have to destroy it through fire. So the halacha was when it came to noiser, you had things in the Beis Hamikdash that were left overnight that also had to be burnt. The way they would burn it is they would put it inside basically wood, some sort of wood, and they would burn it that way. So if we have a requirement of burning, we look to noiser, which had a requirement of burning, and they put it inside wood to burn. So we do the same thing. We put it into a wooden spoon to burn. So there's, I guess you could say, significance behind it in that way. As far as I know, you do put from the feather into the spoon. I'll have to look again. No, it doesn't say that as a but I think it says maybe say from Menachem or somewhere else. I'll have to look again. But from what I remember somewhere they talk about why you have the spoon. Part of it is you use it also first. But I'll check again. Okay, that's what comes out from there. Sif Yud. Okay, we'll just start this. After you do the bdikas chametz, miyadi vatlani, you do a bittul that night. In other words, according to the Torah, real beer is really just being mevatel, like we said. As long as you say it's not yours, technically you did a good enough job. And you don't have to do bittul more than once. You already were mevatel it by night. You don't have to do it again the next day, right? Technically. Now, 1 second. Oh. Okay, so as we explained, though, the reason why you also have to do the beer is because we're afraid you might find a nice looking roll on Pesach, and even though you did the bittul, but you might forget that you did the bittul, you might eat it, or you might regret it, or whatever it is. So therefore, besides to the bittul, we also do the beer. But the bittul, and as it explains over here, ikra bittul balev. Bittul means that you're choosing that it no longer belongs to you in some way. Sheyigmar beliba, it should be inside your heart. Shekol chametz shebereshus, any chametz that's here that you may not have found is nothing. It's insignificant to you. The any chashuv klum, v'arei kumay offer, it's like earth. Kadavar shein b'yitzerich klal. Now, the tiknu chacham, the chacham said that just having it in your heart is not enough, but also sheyetzi dvarim elu gam bepiv. You should also say it. The Yoimar, and they gave you a specific sentence called Chamira, any type of thing that you could find. So now part of that means that this is not a tefillah. So same like we had by Atanas Nadarim before Rosh Hashanah. If you don't understand what you're saying, it doesn't work. So you should know what you're saying. So they had it in Aramaic. The reason why it was in Aramaic is because that's the language people understood. Everyone understood. So if you don't understand the words you're saying, then do it in English. If you don't know what you're saying, say it in the language you do know. And he explains, kol sa'ar. He says it in Hebrew. Any type of yeast or leaven stuff. Kol chametz sheburshusi. Shalei isi that I didn't see. V'lei biarti and I didn't destroy yet. And we don't say that I did see. You say that tomorrow, because the one that you did see, you're still keeping for the next day. You're not being mevatel yet. You want to eat it. But the ones that you didn't find and you didn't destroy, yeh batel, it should be nullified. V'hefker v'chashuv kafaros. That's the translation in Hebrew. And then he says, "V'rabbeinu kasad alter be'ad kol medaktik b'maisid girmeleve hefker ka'afra da'ara." You should add not just like offer, but it should be like offer of the earth. And the reason is because I think some materials sometimes are also called what? Yeah, how do you know? Oh, he said the same thing. So right, so well, all right. So gold dust is also called sometimes afar, ka'afra. Use that same expression, afrudis or something. So therefore, you don't want to do it. Now, so okay. So now, then, for the benefit of all of us who speak Yiddish, he puts it here in Yiddish as well. All right. And what does he say? He says, "Aller Säuerteig und alles Gesäuerte, welche sich in meinem Rechus befinden, das ist nicht gesehen und nicht Wegenschaft habe, soll nicht und der Stäube der Erde gleich gehalten sein." Okay, so this is not a very common, it's probably German, or maybe, yeah, it's not exactly a Yiddish that we would know. So if you don't know what you're saying, say it in English, or better, look it over before. And this way you know exactly what you're saying. It's not that complicated. 1 second. We'll need that. Okay, Beseder, we'll leave this for now. That's the story for this. Okay.
All right.